Welcome to the clinical cookout. You know you need it, it's kinda scary, but mental health is necessary. Four educated queens taking the lead, hold their hands and they'll help you succeed. Lay your head back, relax, just like that. Now listen to, learn, and your problems will burn away. Cookout, you know, we got just what you need. At the cookout, your heart and mind we will be. At the cookout.
This podcast is for educational purposes only. We are qualified clinicians who will cover various topics on mental health and will sometimes provide community resources. We are not being paid by any organization for our content, and any information we provide is general and pertains to our own personal experiences. We do not provide psychotherapy, diagnoses, or treatment recommendations on air. Any concerns related to your individual mental health should be directed to your medical and mental health professionals. We are not responsible for others' decisions or the subsequent consequences.
Hey y'all, and welcome back to the Clinical Cookout. And today we are going to be discussing a really touchy subject for all the ladies out there, and that is menopause. In this hot sauce, we are going to specifically be discussing libido or sex drive and menopause and what that looks like and how it can be affected, and also ways in which sometimes it ain't got nothing to do with menopause, you just don't feel like it. So According to research, more than a third of women report that they have a drop in sex drive or libido once they get into perimenopause or menopause, right? And John Hopkins did a major study on that, and that's the results that they found. And whether it be because they just don't desire it or there's problems in it physically, those are some of the reasons that women tend to give. So for the aunties, do you think that menopause or perimenopause or that change in life has as much to do with it? Or do you think it's more a personality thing? Like if you already didn't have a high sex drive, you're probably just going to be your normal self during that time.
Think it would be worse because I mean, if you already didn't have a sex drive, and then I don't know, sex drive does weird things because sometimes people get in their 40s and they have like a spike in sex drive, and then like that's like the women when they have like their our little midlife crisis where we want the younger dude and we like need somebody who can keep up. So I don't know. It depends on what your hormones are doing, but typically when you go in menopause or perimenopause, the sex drive is usually going down. I thought. Um, I just think it's hormonal.
Mhm.
I think it would be a combination of both, to be honest. There could be some bodily changes. I think honestly that aren't talked about enough when it comes to libido changing. And this is why I hate the conversation around um, people not when men. I just heard somebody say it over the weekend about, oh, so and so's wife wasn't doing their wifely duties, and so he stepped out. And so I'm like, yeah, but there could be so many reasons why, and menopause could be part of it. You don't know, like you don't even ask or even get to know about a woman's body. So, and again, if they don't want to have sex either, that could also play a part of it. But I think that it could be a combination of both. But I think that people should clarify, and maybe the woman doesn't even know what's going on with her. Maybe she don't even know why she is having a low sex drive. Because stressful things happen every day, right? Especially when you have kids and you work 40 hours. Anything could affect your sex drive.
Mm-hmm.
So I just feel like people need to ask a lot more questions, whether it's personality, whether it's just, menopause or maybe both. I think people need to be a little bit more exploratory when it comes to this because I don't think that people are as sensitive as they think they are when it comes to perimenopause or menopause in general. And I honestly,
Mhm.
don't think people are pretty educated on it. So it could be both.
Speaking of education, I am a whole woman out here in these streets, and I don't know that much about menopause or perimenopause. I think it's because it doesn't quite affect me just yet, or I don't have to worry about it yet, but I just don't know. After hearing y'all start talking about it, I'm like, maybe I need to like do some research and know like what's to come. But I wonder how much your partner's support or lack of support in this like new phase of your life has to do with your sex drive as well. So
They
like
don't like to
if
support
your
menopause.
partner, because some men just don't understand, even when it comes to just menstrual periods and PMSing. They just don't understand. You're faking. Like, that's not real. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like if your partner is telling you like it's really not that serious. What do you like menopause? Okay, so what? Like, why are you acting like that? That's probably gonna make you not really want to do anything with them
Man
versus
opening
someone
his
who's
mouth.
like supporting you.
A man opening his mouth don't want to make me do nothing. So it don't even matter if
Shut
it's
up.
menopause.
Shut up, Keish. Shut up.
Right.
Listen, men will talk you right from being wet to dry desert in a matter of 2 minutes. So it don't like we what is we talking about perimenopause for? We don't even need it when it come to them. Because the moment they open their mouth, they talking themselves right out of coochie. Because they don't know how to shut up.
It's Jodeci and combat boots in the Sahara Desert as soon as they start talking. Just
I'm just
dry.
saying. Yes, I know I understand this is about perimenopause, but I'm literally being serious. Men can't even have regular conversations without, somebody's sex drive going down. You ain't even doing no housework.
Why are you grouping men all in one
I'm
category?
not grouping all of them in there, but I'm saying like 95%.
Cause she
I
part of the
say about
he
70.
woman man haters club.
Ain't
I
nobody
say
a man hater. I'm just telling the truth. And listen, there's many
Okay,
men that's online arguing
I'm a,
about it.
I'm gonna have Auntie
Look,
Keish
don't
back with
mention
the
no
question.
man around Keys. That's all you gotta say. Just don't
I'm
mention a man. You mention a man, she going off every time.
I'm gonna have Auntie Keish back though on this one, and I'm gonna stick with what you specifically asked to Amber. Like, is the support from your specifically if you're in a relationship, if you're in a partnership or a marriage, is that can support from that man help the situation or hurt the situation? We know it could go either way. Lack of support can hurt. Support can help, but personal story here. I shared with my spouse that I felt like this is something I was dealing with. And I promise you, I never want to cuss that man out so bad in my life, ever in my life. And he knows. So he ain't gonna mind me sharing this story. But it's almost like he cared and didn't understand at the same time. Well, what we gonna do about it? I don't want you on the hormones. What you gotta do about it? What's the natural breath method? Where the juices and berries? Wait a minute. Wait a whoa. What's wrong with you? Why you acting like that? I'm like, I don't even know what's wrong with me. Like, I don't think people understand that for women, even if you know about perimenopause and menopause and lower sex drive, even if you know some things, you don't know what you're dealing with. You don't know what you feel. Like, it's days where I'm just like, yeah, something wrong with me. I couldn't tell you what it is. What's wrong with you? I don't know. That's not an answer. You about to get cussed. You about to get cussed out. You about to get clean cussed out. Because I don't want, like, I can't talk about something that I can't talk about. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so support kind of looks like you as the partner in that person's life, you really just have to take that. Like you have to take that confusion and really just rock with it. And be like, look, all right, I'm just here. I ain't gonna say nothing. I'm just gonna be here for whatever you need me to be here for. Because if you're not, that doesn't help either. So now I'm my desires down and you mad because you ain't getting none. Well, I don't know what to tell you.
Well,
All right.
I think it'll be hard to be a man because men are on pause, right? They're in menopause. So you not about to
Ooh.
get none. I'm about to be snapping on you. I want you to go find some juices and berries, and you about to cuss me out. I want to know what we gonna do about it, even though it's something that you going through, and you still about to cuss me out, and I can't get none. I don't know where to go, what to do. I don't know how supportive I'll be of that too. And I ain't saying they shouldn't support. I'm just saying that I can understand. I can empathize with the lack of. How do I support you? Because, bruh, nothing I say is gonna be right. I done talked you dry. What do I do? What do they do? What can
Listen,
they do, y'all?
the only question I have for y'all, hear me out. The only question I have for y'all, it's not about me being a man hater. It's about the intention of a man. And I promise y'all, if a man was having cancer or prostate cancer, y'all will be researching how to support him. There would be no question about how women will show up for a man to figure out what to do with their partner. Even if they don't know how, they will go to the lengths that they need to. I'm just saying, I just need men to put in the same effort. That's all I'm saying. And typically you don't see it because they're typically only worried about themselves. One thing a man will do is preservation. He
Okay,
will
so
put himself
we
first.
are going way off
I'm
topic.
just saying.
Because
I'm
that
telling
should
you.
With
be
that. So
prostate cancer, and
part
menopause.
part of
What?
okay,
I
no
just wanted
listen.
to use
Okay,
it
so
as an
listen.
She
Hear
was
me
example
out.
of
using it.
like something a
Hear
man
me
would
out.
be going through and understand. Like a man
I
would.
know. So
That's
part of
all.
understanding that is knowing what it is to start, like knowing what it is, what it
Right.
means, and like what's happening with that woman's body.
Mhm.
So before
Yeah.
we get too far off topic, let's just go ahead and talk about menopause and what it actually is. And I hope I learned something from y'all today. I really hope I do. Let's go ahead and hit the main dish. All right, y'all. So for the main dish, we are going to dig a little bit deeper into menopause. So as I stated earlier, I should know more about it because I'm a woman, but I actually don't know that much about it. I do know like maybe some of the symptoms that people talk about. But there's also like other medical issues that can contribute to that. So today we are going to talk about what menopause actually is, and then what are some of the signs or some of the symptoms, or maybe what would trigger someone to want to go get checked out and see if that's what's going on with them.
I can tell you from a personal experience, I thought that I was having menopause back in the summer because your girl was going through some symptoms I had never experienced before. And when I spoke to, a nurse practitioner at my job, I told them, I was like, I'm a little too young for menopause. And they were like, well, actually, you're not that young for it. So I had to go and get my blood levels checked. And, even though it didn't turn out to be menopause, I would not wish that on anybody. The symptoms and what you feel and the changes that your body go through. Yeah, people can tell you all day long what those symptoms are because I did have someone else who was going through menopause and they were having like these significant hot flashes. And you don't know unless you go through it. And until I had a hot flash or until I woke up in a pool of sweat, it was not a fun time. It was not.
Oh Lord.
And it like affects your mood. You have like mood swings and stuff like that. And so you think you're going through a depressive episode. Honestly, that's what it feels like, except with the physical changes as well. So I would say, it's important for you to go to the doctor. And if you know that something is not right or don't seem right, then I would definitely go and try to get that figured out because it's not a fun time.
So
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 what's
to,
actually
So
happening in your body when you're going through menopause? Like
We
what?
okay. So let's clarify what it is. So menopause actually doesn't start until 12 months after your very last period. That is what's called menopause. Everything leading up to that is perimenopause. So during perimenopause is when you experience those traditional symptoms we hear about like hot flashes. Because once menopause hits, it's kind of like leveled out. Your period has stopped and it's leveled out. So when most women are describing the symptoms, they're in the perimenopausal stage before their period has completely stopped. Because menopause starts 12 months after that last one. Okay, so that's how they differentiate between the two. Um, and with perimenopause, like Auntie Keish said, it could be a plethora of different physical and emotional symptoms, right? So hot flashes is the big one. That when I was young, like when I was little, middle school, high school, I literally thought that hot flashes was all it was, because that's what my grandmother, like women, the older women in my life who were going through it, they would get a hot flash and be ready to strip down. Like I didn't realize it was that serious, and I was like, oh, so when you get older as a woman, that change is just you get hot. That's what I thought. And so now that Auntie Keish thought she was experiencing it, but I am actually experiencing it and finding out that perimenopause starts around age 36, 35, 36, and you can go through years of perimenopause before menopause actually hits. Um, so the waking up in a pool of sweat, the hot flashes, the mood swings, the irritability, like you are angry at life for no reason. Like you just wake up mad, and it's just you can't do anything about it. You feel like you can't do anything about it. You don't know how to describe it. You don't know how to tell people to be there for you. You just want people to leave you alone because you're not yourself. You literally don't feel like yourself. And that's hard for a lot of women. That's really hard because it's like people knew you one way, and now you having this experience, and you isolate, and you depressed, you all these things, and at first you don't think it's that because you like maybe I'm just depressed. or maybe something else is going on and I'm just highly stressed about something. But then you start to piece together the symptoms and you have to go to the doctor. You have to get your levels checked. Like they will check hormone levels in your blood because really all menopause is your ovaries stop working. Like that's it. Your ovaries stop working and producing hormones.
Your FSH levels, I think
Yes,
that's the one that they check.
that's the one that they check. Yep.
You go through the change. You're going through the change.
Vaginal
Mm-hmm.
dryness, sleep problems, low libido, like it will take you through it. Like, and you think you're in
Mm-hmm.
a depressive episode when really you probably should be getting checked at the doctor.
I also want to talk about a hysterectomy. A lot of the women that I know who've had partial hysterectomy or hysterectomies, they get thrown into it a little bit earlier. That's what I was going to ask Ashley about.
So if you have a full hysterectomy at any stage of your life as a young woman, for whatever reason, some women have them for problems or like issues after maybe having a baby when you're young. You could get a full hysterectomy, and that will throw you into early menopause more than likely. But when you get a partial, that's actually not true. If they leave your ovaries intact, you will not go through menopause early. If they move your ovaries, then yes, you likely will. So that's why when I another thing, when I did have that experience, the doctor purposely said you are too young for me to remove your ovaries. So she left them. She's like, now you don't have to worry about menopause starting early. But she told me this. She said, but don't think that like once you get into your late 30s, you could start having symptoms, but it has nothing to do with this because we left that part. So that's the difference because people do think that, but you have to have a full hysterectomy in order to go into menopause early.
Now, is it genetic? Because a lot of times my mom got menopause at this age or perimenopause. My grandmother, it just
Yep.
keeps getting passed down.
It is quite like the menstrual cycle. A lot of times they'll tell you whenever your mother started her menstrual cycle, you'll probably start it around the same age. Same with the change in menopause and perimenopause. Whatever age your mother typically started around is the age you'll typically start around.
Ooh, I
And
got a
they
wow.
asked me, at the doctor's office any changes that had happened with my mom and my grandma. And they were like, do you know if they had, menopause and stuff of that nature? So they do ask you about family history, which is important to collect anyway. But there could be some, I guess, what is it, connection to maybe your family history as well. So, and
Mhm.
I wanted to add another symptom that also goes a part of perimenopause is anxiety. I had an anxiety attack that night when I was in that pool of sweat. So that was another reason why I thought like something is so off and wrong because it was about to be menstrual cycle time and something was just it just never happened before. And I was like, I don't know what's going on, but clearly I need to go get checked or clearly there's something wrong. So again, those symptoms can come up for you. And if they're abnormal to what you're used to, then it is probably a sign that even if it's not perimenopause or menopausal, you still need to go get checked, especially if it's an abnormal sign.
Mhm. And just for everybody watching too, especially for the women watching, the first actual sign is irregular periods. Because remember, you still have your periods, and menopause doesn't start until 12 months after your final period. So those 12 months before, it gets very irregular. Whereas you probably have had a regular type of period. I know that I'm gonna have a period for 3, 4 days at this time of the month. Now it becomes very irregular. So that's usually the first sign that that might be what you're starting to deal with. And then the most common signs initially are the hot flashes and dryness and irritability. Those three specifically are the ones that pop up the earliest.
I ain't never had a 4 day period.
Some people
Mine are
do.
always 4 days.
Some people do.
Mine are irregular, so I might be on perimenopause. I'm pre-diabetic,
Oh
perimenopause.
God, Keisha. So, with that said, it's important to not self-diagnose. Um,
Yes, I am. No, because the doctor was like, I wonder why you would. And he said maybe it was just an off, one off. So we're gonna
Mhm,
chalk it up to it just being one off.
mhm,
That's what we're gonna chalk it up to.
well, the pre-diabetic symptoms are similar too, though. That's the
Mhm.
thing. That's why it's important to go get your levels checked because I told y'all I didn't know what was happening with me. Like my period was very irregular. Um, I felt like during ovulation, some women can feel their ovulation. Okay,
Yes,
it's
that's true.
called middle smirch. Middle smirch. mental smirch. Anyway, some people can feel their ovulation. So on the right side, it literally felt like the worst cramp in my life. It felt like when I was just about to push a baby out. Like it was that bad. And I was just like, something's got to be rupturing in here. And it would feel like that every month, right after, you get right after you start ovulating and everything. And so I just chalked it up to, you know what, it's my ovulation. It's never been this bad. But when I did go and get my levels checked, I found out I had low hemoglobin, an iron deficiency, um, low vitamin D, high A1C. All these things were going on. And I was like, I had thought, am I in menopause? I shouldn't be. And I wasn't. But it just sounded like everything that I've experienced or Auntie Keisha's experience sounds like what Auntie Ashley was experiencing. So it turned out that I just needed some vitamin D pills, 2 iron infusions, and to take my iron every single day and stop playing with them people. And to actually take a vitamin. Because you know what I mean? Like your skin, you start as black women, especially dark skinned black women, we are very vitamin D deficient because all this melanin wants to block out the vitamin D. It don't want the sun and stuff. We are made to deflect. So it's hard to get the vitamin D that I need to get. So it feels like if I thought it was perimenopause. That's why it's important to go get your levels checked.
And I'm glad you brought up the treatment plan that your doctor gave you for what you were experiencing, because contrary to belief, there is no actual treatment for menopause. There's treatment for those things that Auntie Keisha and Auntie Shug did find out they were actually dealing with. There's no real treatment for perimenopause or menopause. There are things that can help ease your symptoms, but this is a natural process for women to go through. So it's nothing, you don't want to stop a natural process. It has to happen. So it's no treatment to stop it. It's no treatment. It's funny when you look it up, it literally says it's a disease. And that pissed me off because I was like, menopause is not a disease. It's a natural process of a woman's life. Like it's not a disease. You're not, um, disabled because you're going through menopause. It has to happen for every woman. So I kind of didn't like the way they worded it when I was researching it. I was like, ain't no damn disease. It's a natural thing. And that's why because it's not a disease though, there is no real treatment other than the things they give you to help these symptoms, which are things like, hormone replacement therapy. That's a big one that people hear about because you're losing your hormones. So it's like, okay, we got to give you some to balance that out. So they do hormone replacement. That you might end up on antidepressants because of the severe mood swings and irritability. And then also lifestyle changes. Now, lifestyle changes is the hardest one for me because it's like, man, I've been living my life the way I want to live my life. Stop playing with me. I want to eat the way I want to eat. I want to do the things I want to do. I don't want to do that. Like, don't take away the things that do make me happy.
What they
But
do? Take away all that butter you be eating?
go to
Not that butter.
Take away all that butter.
Let me quit laughing because I know I can't be eating no butter either while I'm over here playing.
Me either.
So while I'm over here tackling, I got the same goddamn plan.
be over
With
there
the
cracking
carb
with that
snap.
A1C.
Uh-huh. She's like, put it down.
Well, actually, funny thing. Now everybody know Auntie Ashley love to eat. I always get over here and say I ain't never changing my diet. Funny thing, that's how I knew it was a problem for real. I don't be wanting to eat no more. I don't have an appetite, so I don't want anything. Like I don't have a craving for anything. I force myself to eat because I know I gotta eat. But it's
Does
like
does exercise help reduce the symptoms of menopause?
no, no, I'm
Okay.
playing. I don't know. You know they
Uh,
probably. You know
if you
damn well I don't want to go
pre-diabetic, you
exercise.
do.
You know, you know
If you
damn well I don't want to go
So
exercise.
basically, menopause is like once it happens, it's for the rest of your life.
No, it has an
No.
ending point. It does have an ending point. You go through perimenopause, then 12 months after your final period is when you are in menopause. And then the funny thing is, once menopause is done, that's when you get to the women who are like, oh, my libido skyrocketed and I want to have sex all the time and I'm happy and I'm smiley and I like, so once it's over, you get to the other side of things.
ooh,
But I
it
feel
take
like
a
it's like
long time
15
though.
years. I
Yeah,
feel like,
it could be like a 10 to 15 year process.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
That's why I
That's
was
why I'm glad
scared.
I'm the baby of the group.
Shit.
Listen, that's why I was scared when they was starting. I was like, man, I got 12 years. I'm doing this.
12 years a slave.
Because you didn't have premenopause.
You right, but that's what I was thinking in my head. I was creating all types of narratives.
It was pre-diabetes.
And y'all
Even
made
worse,
me
I
after
done
y'all
took
told me.
menopause before diabetes.
Listen, after y'all told me about y'all going to get y'all blood work and all that stuff that was elevated and deficient and stuff, I went and got mine done too. Like within that next month. All my stuff was normal though, not to brag.
No
Fine.
shade.
I
No
was fine.
shade, I ain't old.
I
No
didn't
shade, I
need
ain't
to
old.
go. But y'all had me over here like, dang, what if something's happening that I don't know is happening? And then it keeps going lower and lower, and I end up having the shakes and the ovulations and the hot flashes. So I went to go get my stuff checked
You
too
know what?
because y'all had me feeling, but I be forgetting that I am the baby, so I'm not quite like,
We about to stop talking to you.
look,
Listen,
I'm not quite up where
and,
y'all at yet.
and I want to correct something because me and Auntie Keisha was both just wrong. So when I said perimenopause and menopause, the third stage is postmenopause. That's for the rest of your life. It's not 10 to 15 years. It's for the rest of your
I ain't
life.
read nothing about no postmenopause. See, you should have kept that information.
We got to educate the people.
I think
Postmenopause.
it's just when you old. I mean, post-menopause just mean I ain't going through menopause no more.
So I'm gonna tell y'all what the research says.
Yeah.
Post menopause, once you enter it, you're in it for the rest of your life. You might continue to have some symptoms and experience that you experienced during the first two stages, and they will tend to dissipate over time. And because it's a decrease in estrogen and you never really get it back, that is why women are at an increased risk for heart disease and osteoporosis because we lose estrogen. So we end up at a higher risk for those other um, those other ailments, and then losing your estrogen doubles it.
Y'all ever been in a room with somebody who's going through menopause and they have a hot flash? Oh my lord. Listen,
Okay.
this lady at work used to have the AC on like 63. I was in there freezing.
Uh,
Anemic too, right? I'm in there freezing and she like, I'm having a hot flash. I'm like, all day?
see that is not understanding at all. That is not
It's
understanding.
not. It's not. That's how my
Yes,
mom is though. I go to my
yes,
mama's
all
house,
day.
she got the air on freaking 68, 67, and it gets cold upstairs at her house. And she just like, this is fine. I was like, I'm in here freezing. It's just like
My
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 body get hot. Like what?
my kids living in an ice box right now. Just ain't gonna hold. It's cold here, Amber, because you coming to visit. It's cold. Okay, I'm
Right.
sorry. And funny story. Yes, when a hot flash hit, you got to do something. I was in the Walmart and one hit while I was in the frozen food section, and I was almost inside the freezer with the ice
That's my
cream.
mother being a freezer.
I was almost inside the freezer with the ice cream because I said anything is better than the hell out here.
My mom came to Louisiana, right? During menopause, but she had a hot flash and it was already 110 degrees. She's talking about, so I gotta get my soul right because I can't go to hell.
If I can't take this, I definitely can't go to hell. I can't go to
Because I
hell.
can't spend the rest of my life like this. Oh, I almost peed on my.
Think of like older women, like 50s, 60s, when I think of menopause. So I was so surprised to hear that you're going through that, Ash, because I just did not think that it happened that young.
No. 40 is 42, 43 is the average. So perimenopause can start in your late
Don't try
30s.
and bring nobody where you at, okay? No, no,
I'm trying to prepare y'all and the people that are watching. Like you
no.
got to be prepared. You already thought it. I will tell you what has helped me thus far because
Good.
I haven't started any
Good over here.
you shut up, youngin.
I'm g- I'm good over here,
Listen,
baby.
by the time Amber hit it, we gonna be posting. We gonna be like, mm-hmm.
You
Yeah,
have to
you hot,
get
ain't
your
it?
soul
You
right.
hot, ain't it? Get your soul together. Get your soul together.
That's stupid.
But no, to kind of wrap us up, honestly, I will say that it is a situation that all women have to go through, and it is a difficult situation. But But I know people watching are like, why? How they laughing about it? Because humor is a coping skill. It is a good coping mechanism. Like the times since I found this out where I have been able to really laugh at things have helped a lot. Because if I'm having a hot flash, ain't shit funny. If I'm irritable, I ain't trying to laugh. I'm pissed off. So when I can laugh, it's a good thing. So I want to know from the women out there two things that I want y'all to kind of tell the aunties. One, if you have already experienced perimenopause or menopause, or you are in that stage, how are you being supported, or how are you handling it yourself? And then for the women who may not be there yet, what is your biggest fear going forward? And bonus question to the men out there, do you know anything about anything? Cause learn, okay? Share this with your boys, this episode. Cause y'all don't know nothing, and you gonna have people out here drier than the Sahara. Okay? All right. Y'all have a beautiful rest of the evening, and we'll see y'all next week.